Hi, Ann Cornick from Paint and Porcelain Exchange, and I'm here to teach beginners how to get started in China painting and also to recruit those of you that are experienced to join us and give us some tips and share some of your knowledge with us too. Now today we're going to be working on the last part of our, the final fire of our Hollyhocks. And this is how my plate has turned out so far. Now it's still light. You notice how light it is? And this is when we put those accents into it. When you put the accents into it, then it's going to turn out like this after the final fire. You see how much darker that is, and especially the buds and things. We're going to be using a lot of pen work on this, so you'll need a pen, and you'll also need pen oil of some sort, and we'll talk about that in a minute. Now, a lot of people have asked me about the colors because they don't have the red grape. And I would say if you don't have red grape, I fired up a couple of different samples here. And this is my red grape. Oh, wait, this is my red grape, okay? And this is my ruby. And you could use either of those. See how close they are? And even my American Beauty. Now, this is 2 fires on here. So if you didn't put it on last time, you'd have to do it twice to get it this dark. The only one I caution you against is this Ruby Best. It's Ashcroft. It's from Mary Ashcroft, and it's a fine paint, don't get me wrong, but it's a little in your face for this particular application. So that's the only one I'd say if you have it, find another Ruby or find some other color to use. You can use Violet of Iron, especially if it tends to go red. If it goes brown on the next fire, I would say then try Ruby. Because Violet of Iron should work if it's a red Violet of Iron, or Ruby could work for you too and get you the color you want. Okay, we are going to be using large brushes. I have a 16 here that I'm going to be using for the background. We're going to be using a pointer, a liner, a pen, and this is my pen. And we're going to talk a little bit about the points that I have in it and the oils that you can use as well in a minute. Here are the colors that we're using. So we're using a soft pink. And this is a cobalt. There, can you see it? And then we have chartreuse, moss green, and black green, or dark green. Down here we have, that's a turquoise, kind of a blue-green. Mine's called Tahiti. Yours can be anything. Deep blue green would work. This is Cool Shadow. This one is the red grape. And like I said, if you have ruby, it might work for you too. And then we have shading green. Yeah, shading green. And down here I have an auburn that I was using off and on. Oops, got paint all over me now. I used wheat. This is cobalt. We might use cobalt in the sky today, right here. White, and then a yellow. And you want a bright yellow for the center of the flowers, so you want it to maybe lemon yellow if you have it. Egg would work, but you want a bright color for the center. And then you're going to decide on your border. Now on my final plate right here, the border was sort of decided for me. We had little, see, forget-me-nots and stuff around it on the plate. But on this border, I have scallops. And you could do them in gold. I think I'm going to do them in green or blue. I don't know. And I'm not going to do them now because I want you to decide, you know, what you want to do. So Copenhagen is what I'm using, and you're just going to go over everything. I have a nice smooth number 16 brush. I'm going over this tree because I want some blue behind the holes that I created in the tree to put the little branches. And down here I want to be able to pull out that that fence. Okay, there we go. And then I'm just smoothing it. Because if you've got the clouds underneath it already, you should be able to just smooth it, and it should be just fine for you. I'm going up this side. But I needed to smooth it out because I didn't like how it was looking. And I felt like it was it didn't have enough of a refinement to it. It just looked kind of choppy. And I didn't like that. So this is just Copenhagen, as light Copenhagen blue, and fairly lightly. And if I put it on too dark, then I'm pulling it around to get it lighter. And as you can see, my brush is a very cooperative brush. This is a wonderful brush. It's, you want to get it up here in the loops too. Okay. It's a very nice brush because it really helps with the smoothness and everything on it. Okay, so going across. I'm going to take my, and I'm just wiping it off here, and then I'm going to go down and wipe it off the house. And I'm going to wipe it off this side. See how I got up in there? Wipe off there, there, there. Okay. Yeah. And if you use Copenhagen this way, after you've done baby blue, it won't dull it too much. But it will give you a nice smooth coat over the top like a wash. And it can really help. Now I'm going over here and I'm going to wipe out these buds. You have to wipe the color off of them because you don't want the blue on them. You want them to stand out all by themselves. Oops, a little too much there, so let's change the side of this. See how it's wiping off? Okay, and then here, I'm just going to wipe it from around the house. Okay, got a lot of it off. Good. Okay, that's for the sky, and I'm pretty happy with that. There, got a little bit there. I can clean it a little more later. Now with the grass, I kind of think I'm going to do something similar. We'll see if it works. I have all the little choppiness on it, and I think I don't want a whole lot more choppiness. So what I'm going to do is take a little bit of the dark green or the black green, whichever color I have here, and just sort of wash it a little bit. I'm just smoothing things because they, when I chopped them all up earlier, they were cute, but they weren't as smooth as I would like them. And I'd like them a little bit smoother. And down the side here. There we go. And maybe a little bit right down in here. And down in here. Oh, come here, you. Now, for those of you that are saying, how do you get it that smooth? You need to use a big brush. And I will tell you, there are a lot of people that I've worked with lately that have said that they enjoyed using a big brush because it really made a difference. So that's kind of what you're looking for, is a big brush. And then along the edge here, you might want to just make a little bit more of a noticeable edge. There we go. And maybe along the edge over here, a little bit noticeable, more noticeable. Oops, come here, you. More noticeable edge. There we go. And I'll put it down here too. Oops. I mean, this brush is great, but every once in a while it needs more oil. It soaks up the oil like crazy. Okay. Alrighty. So those are washes that I've done there. And then if you want to add a little sunlight to your washes, and notice how I turn my brush over. Hang on, I want to do up in here too a little bit. And then just pull it down. Okay. Okay. Then you can take your, if you have like a sponge, put it around your finger like that, and then just tap it a little bit. It'll give you a little sunlight on the grass there, and maybe a little over here too, if you need it. There you go. Okay, so that kind of evened things out, and I think made them a lot easier to see. Now I'm going to take my, this one's pretty well shot. I'm going to take another one of either a stump or a Q-tip, and I'm just going to wipe out my fence back here. And let's do it on this side too. Yeah, you can see it on this side. I'm just checking on the monitor there. Okay, good. So now I need to make sure I've got everything wiped out that I want wiped out. And I think I do, pretty much. So the next step is to add any color where I still think I need it on the house or anything. And on the trees, I'd like to add just a little more depth. So let's just go with a little darker. It's if you add black green to the trees, if you already have a green on the trees, another coat over it will just make it a little darker. You don't have to add a lot of darkness. You just need to add that next layer. So see, I'm going just over the dark parts of the tree here. Yeah. You see how I'm doing that? Just going over the dark parts of the tree. I'm using my pointer, and I'm not going very dark with it. I'm just adding a little color. And then I might kind of soften a little of that. Some of that's a little much. You can use your eraser. You can use this guy again if you want. Whatever works for you. We're going to do the top of the house. I'm going to leave the house a very light color. I'm going to leave the roof kind of a light color too. I don't want it to be too dark. So I'm just going to, and the little chimney here, I'm just going to, I want to fill the color in a little better. There we go. I kind of want them to be fuzzy and in the background. So I'm not going to change much of the color that's on them. I'm changing over to a number 4 brush, or what is this? 6. This is a 6 square shader. And I'm just going to add a little, I'm going to take a little wheat, mix it with a little of my auburn, and I just want to do the roof a little bit. Just give a little bit of style. There we go. Just want to clean it up a little. Okay. The wheat kind of helps. And it'll put it in the background too. And I'm just kind of on there, okay? Because I want it to be pale and in the background. I don't want it to be like in your face. And then I've got these funny windows up here, so I'm just going to put a little brown in them. Just so they look like windows, so they don't look like, well, what the heck is that? Okay, and this one's a little dark, so I just put my finger on them. That's really a quick way of like tapping out the color you don't want. Just use your finger. And then this is a baby blue. I'm going to take a little white and mix it with my cool shadow and just add a little more color to it. But because I added the white to it, it's not going to be vibrant. It's going to be kind of pale. Probably should have done this before I did that other. There we go. Cool shadow. Yeah, so all you're doing is just taking into consideration where you want to darken things a little bit. I'm going to take a little shading green and add a little there. So the bushes are a tad darker, just a tad darker around the house. There we go. Oops, a little too dark, okay. Now we're going to come down to these. Most of this up here, we're just going to add some depth to. So I think I can, we're going to start here. So I'm going to start by adding a little bit of green. So I'm adding a full load. I'm using my liner, adding a full load with a half load of a little bit of shading green. And I'm just going to put the shadow back on one more time so I can see it. Oops. A little bit here, a little bit here. This one I want to have more in the middle there. So it should have been opening. So let me get, oh, that's too dark. Should have been opening there. There we go. I'll just pull a little bit of that dark out there. And then we'll go over here and we're just going to do this here. They're coming down now. This and this. I'm just putting the color where it needs to be to make it, give it a little more shadow. Yeah, there we go. Okay. And I think I would like these two buds to have a little more color. So I'm going to clean my brush. Same brush, little pointer thing. And I'm just going to put it on the end here like this. And then here like this. And that should give you more color. Now, we definitely need more color in these guys down here. I think the path is okay. I'm not going to really do anything with the path. These guys need a little bit of the green on the top of them, the buds here. So let's just gently, I just made them circles. You just do circles on these buds. They aren't open anyway, so just do circles on them, and you'll be amazed. It seems like if you use the pointer to do that, you get all the dark in the right spot. There we go. Okay. Alrighty. So now I'm going to take, when you do these flowers, the brush you use should be half the size for the center. See? Half the size of the flower. I would use this one here. It's a little over half. And what I'm going to do first is I'm going to start with my big flower. I'm going to add a little more pink using a side load on this brush and just adding a little more pink. And I'm only kind of adding it, as you can see. Oops, got some blue on there. Hang on. Don't know how I did that. We're just going to do this here and turn it and do this here. I want to make sure I'm in your line of vision. And then we're going to do a little up in here and here. Now, I'm going to add a little blue and just clip the top of this. This is cobalt. I'm side loading with cobalt, a light amount. And I'm doing like, almost like little C strokes, but sometimes I come down. Hang on, you'll see. Get a little more blue here. There we go. And a little more blue in here. And a little more blue over here. Just on the edges, maybe a little there. Okay. Then I'm going to do the same thing with the others, just a little blue around the edge. They're pretty pink. They don't need to be pinker. And this little guy here, doing just a little blue around the edge, just to reinforce it. And then this guy here too. There we go. Okay. Now, if you don't like it and you think there's too much blue on there, you can just pull it into the center like this, and it will disperse. Oop. Let's do here, and here a little bit, and here a little bit. Okay. Okay. I'm going to add a little pink up in here. I think it could use it. There we go. And maybe a little pink on this side. And a little pink there. Oops. And a little pink right here. So just add it where you think it needs it. You don't have to add it everywhere. And then this one down here, we're going to do a full load of pink, side load of the blue, and we're just going to go around the edges like this. Oops, can you see that guy? Let me pull him up a little higher here. Here. Okay, that's it. We're done. Then we're going to do the center, because as you can see, first of all, this center kind of got wiped out, so we're going to, and so did that one. So we're going to start by putting our yellow in the center. Or maybe we'll do that last. Let's do that last. We're going to start with this guy, and we're going to use this big brush, and we're going to go a half load of the red grape. If you don't have the red grape, like I said, there are other options. And we're going to go around like this, like we did the last time, and we're just adding the color. Now this time, you really want to add it. Mine fired out. Remember, I had this done like this, and it fired out. So you don't want it to completely fire out this time. So be generous with your paint and really put it in there and pull it towards the middle. Okay, then for the others, I'm going to switch brushes because this brush is going to be too big just for the center. So I'm going to find a brush, and I think this will work. And I'm just going to load it with a little of the red grape. Oops, I don't have enough on. You want your red grape to go at least halfway across your brush. So if I'm doing it down here, I want it at least halfway across. Okay, like that. I know this is a lot like the last fire, but we're going to do a lot of pen work in a minute, and that will change it. If you can turn it on a turntable like I do, what you're going to find is this red grape is going to be more evenly distributed and have it always come to the middle. If you're trying to do it on your own, it's going to be a little more difficult, and you're going to have to really move the brush around a little bit. It won't fan as well. I like this. You do about 3 and then move the table, and you really get a nice fan. And then I'll do this guy over here. My brush is separating. That means I need more oil. There we go. Oh, he's a little heavy there. Hang on. There. Okay. And a little more. See, I do 3, and I kind of lay the brush down as I go around. I do this and lay the brush down, lay the brush down. Do you see that? That helps just a little bit disperse that color. I need a little darker color in here because I want it to take this time. I don't want it to burn out. Okay. Now we're going to start some of the pen work, but one other thing we have to do is add a little depth in here. Going back to my, this is a, what is this? This is a 3/4 inch square shader. I'm just going to take a little bit of the black green now. And I'm just going to tease it with C strokes across the sky. There. I'm going to tease it a little under here. Maybe over here. I want a little here. Oops, might be a little too strong. There we go. Just trying to get a little darker. That's almost too strong, isn't it? There we go. I'm going to put a little along the side. Come on, I'm side loading my brush when I go along the side. There we go, that's better. And a little up this way, okay. And then I think these two guys could use it right there, and right there, and a little right here. In fact, I almost can just do that whole guy, can't I? Because it's going to be in the shade back there. Same thing with this guy. He's going to be in the shade back here. Oh, too heavy. Wipe it off. Come down. Okay. And then I want a little more depth back in here. Oh, not enough oil. Down in here. And you just want to add depth. You don't really want to add a leaf or anything. You're just suggesting that they're down there. There you go. Okay? So that's what I've done there. Okay. Now we go to the pen. Let me show you what I learned about the pens. I learned something new. Here's my tile. And I'm kind of doing it the cheapy way. I'm just taking the color that I want, which is a shading green. And I'm putting it on here. Maybe a little more shading green. Okay. There. Use this AMP5 Easy Flow from Dallas, China. And I really like it. So I'm going to take a little bit on my, here. I'm going to go in and get a little, and I'm going to put it up there. And then I'm just going to mix it into my oil. This is already something I took off my palette, so it had some oil in it. And usually if it drips, nope, it's not going to drip yet. It needs just a little more. And I'm going to pull it away from that oil because I don't want too much oil to get in it. How's this? Yep, there it's dripping. Okay. All right. I'm going to close up my oil. Now, I am using a new nib on it, whatever you call them. These little things that come out like this. And this is an 107. Now I'm scooping it up like I would any other oil, and I'm just doing the tops of that. I'm doing the top of this. Just letting it run down a little. If you need to, you can outline the other things, but you don't have to. If you just outline kind of where you're trying to show some division here, I think you're fine. See, I didn't go quite as far as I did on the other one. The other one I went all the way around, and I think that was kind of a mistake. Here I'm just doing the edges where you have these little tiny openings where the buds are just beginning to open. And look at how long that goes. Then down here, I'm going to do this. And over here, I'm going to do this. And just a little there. Okay, it just gives you a feel. And down here, I need to connect this a little. Okay. As far as on the these down here, you could put, let me get a little more. Here we go. You could put a little green down here like this. Make sure you hold this at a 45-degree angle. That's very important. You could put some veins in if you wanted. See how long it lasts? I'm like so impressed. And I do need to sign my name, which I will do. Oops, I don't like that there. That's a little heavy. Pull it up. Okay. Okay, I'm going to sign my name right here. Oops. Come on, baby. I think it's starting to dry out. Okay. Alrighty, now I don't really have any other place where I did the, green, yes I did. I had it right here on this guy. So on these little guys here, these other buds, we're just going to do them like buds. They're pretty easy. This one's just straight across. And this one's more of a beep, 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 beep. There's only 4 divisions in them. And this one is kind of a This guy's like this, and this guy's like this. Okay. So that should do it for those. If you may have to define them a little more because they've got green behind them and they're green. There they go. And this guy right there. Okay. Oh. Now I usually say don't put it in. Don't put your pen in turpentine because all you'll do is smear for a while. So use a Q-tip to clear out your pen. And you're going to mix another color now. The color you're going to mix is the cobalt. So I've got a lot of cobalt here. And I'm just going to add a little of the oil. Oh, oil. Just take the oil from up there. There we go. And I think that's pretty good. Always try to get your oil clumped up. It's easier to load on your pen. Put the lid back on your bottle. I'm only doing a couple more things. I should put a little of the red kind of on this guy a little. There. There. Okay. So I've got the cobalt here. Let's make sure it's not going to smear on me. Nope, it's not. Okay, and test it on your tile. You don't want it to be real. You just want to go around the edge of this guy and kind of define him. You're not doing a real heavy. This is a harder pen point than the number 2 that I was using. The number 2 is a softer pen point. And it just seems like this harder one does a better job. And I never knew the difference. Luckily, I had some at home. So I just came home and I tried it. I need a little pink there. Hang on. Okay. And okay, and there they are. Now the only other blue I want to do is the blue on the fence in the back. And that is a cool shadow. So I'm going to mix up some cool shadow for my pen real quick. I think that'll work. Okay, cleaned out my pen. Might be a little thick, we'll see. And we're just going to go back here and we're just going to do the underside of these guys and then the tops. Underside, and then the tops and the side. Let me bring you down a little further so you can see this a little better. Yeah. So I'm doing the top. And I'm making it pointed, just like these down here. And bottom, bottom, here, top, bottom, here, top, bottom. Okay. And then on this side, we're going to do the same thing. Here. Oops. Got to be careful. Okay. Come on, baby. This isn't quite soupy enough. Hang on. Let me get a little oil on here. I'm having trouble with that. Oh, that's better. Yeah. After a while, you kind of get a feel for it. And if it's not soupy enough, then take your Q-tip and get it out of there and reload, because you want it to be, you want it to flow. Oops, there's a big, there we go. Oh. The other problem I have is that I never go slow enough with my pen. You really need to baby it a little. The slower you go, the more apt you are to get the result you want. Oops, I didn't tap that one. I can save it. There. And here, I'm a little further away, so I'm going to have to fix those up because I'm trying to stay out of your way so you can see what I'm doing. So like here, I'm going to have to fix that there. Okay, so from a distance now, you can tell that these are those little, here we go. It's a little picket fence across the back. Yeah, you may just have to play with it a little. And then up here in front, we have it at the bottom. Somebody said, I didn't know that was a picket fence. I'm sorry, I thought it was obvious, but I guess it's not. And I'm just going to take the blue again and just, oops. It was on the top here and the bottom, so I'll just, this guy kind of, the flowers kind of grew over that, or something ran. I'm not sure what happened there. You can even use it to just sort of outline the fence down here so that you at least have an outline. Here we go. Oh, more. Just outline the fence. It won't hurt. And then here, because it looks a little bit like, I need a brush. I can take this brush. I'm going to take a little bit of my black green, and I'm just going to, got to get some oil on it. I'm going to take some of the black green and the shading green, and I'm just going to do this guy over the fence a little more so that it's not so, there. Okay. If you want to, you can take a little of the green and maybe do like a side of the house like this, just a little bit. You might want to put this here. You might want to clean up a window. You can do that if you want. You can clean up the windows like this. You could even clean up the chimney a little bit. Make sure the roof shows. And you can make it a little darker on this side, a little darker there, a little darker there, and maybe back here too. So you can kind of help the little house out a little bit too, and that doesn't hurt. Okay. Now I will probably do the outside of this with green. I'm not sure. This is my my final now. You can see. There we go. And there we go. And I'm going to do the edge. I'll probably do it in green. And then this is the other one I did. And hopefully it'll fire the same way because I love the way that these look. Look at those. Aren't they gorgeous? Pick up those brushes. keep painting, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye. Program. And I hope you'll take a minute to subscribe so that other people can learn more about China painting and we can get the word out to more people. You also can look at the links below. My Paintnporcelain.com website has a lot of freebies and printables for new and experienced painters, as well as studies, supplies, and even some of my hand-painted china. So thank you again, and I'll see you next time.